January 12th, 2025. Just after 7 p.m. in San Antonio, Texas, Jack Evans was riding his bicycle on a sidewalk after dark. No headlight, no taillight. Both city ordinance violations. Two officers on patrol spotted him. Lights went on. Evans didn't stop right away. He kept riding slowly for about a city block before officers got in front of him. Within seconds of making contact, he was pulled off the bike and handcuffed. Before anyone explained why. Only after he was cuffed did officers ask what was in his pockets. He said marijuana. That answer led to a search, and something else turned up. A folded piece of paper. A crystal-like substance inside. Months later, in a courtroom, defense counsel asked one very specific question. At what exact moment did this stop for a bicycle light stop become an arrest? And why does that moment matter more than almost anything else in this case?
All right, court is calling 2025 CR 002769 State versus Jack Albert Evans Jr. Could I have parties announced for the record?
Renee Munoz on behalf of Mr. Evans.
And are you Mr. Evans? All right, the defense has requested a motion to suppress hearing. And is this a case involving a warrant or not?
No, you're warrantless detention.
All right. State, you may proceed. Hello. Hi, all right. If you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Officer Zachary McFadden, badge number 1507.
All right, in just one moment. Here you are, don't hold it.
Thank you. Bad habit.
No problem. And as children, my grandmother would always say, don't swallow it, it's gonna ruin your intestines. Don't know if that's true or not, but we don't.
Probably.
All right. State your witness.
South Patrol B shift. What is B shift? B shift is from 13:30 hours to 21:30 hours.
In normal time,
Sorry. 1:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
and you said South Patrol, correct?
Yes, sir.
What is South Patrol?
South Patrol, the city is divided up into north, south, east, west, central, downtown, and Peru. South covers Highway 90 and below out to I-37, a large area.
And you're responsible for control over that entire area?
No, sir. It's divided up into sections. We have 3 sections, and I was assigned to the one side. So I believe the area this is in is Commercial Avenue area. It's considered the one side.
And what characteristics does the one side have?
Okay. The one side is there's a lot of known drug trafficking areas. Very common for persons on bicycles to be pulling narcotics. Most common on South is methamphetamine. Second to that is going to be heroin. And yeah.
And do you know this from your personal experience on patrol in this area?
Yes, sir.
Have you experienced instances in which people on bikes have been signaled to stop and have refused to do so?
Yes, sir. Many instances.
Does that happen more often during the day or at night?
More often at night.
Is there a particular reason for that based off of your experience?
I think in a general sense, from a human perspective, anyone that is concealing narcotics on them don't want to be caught by the police. And on a bicycle, there's a sense of I'm already moving, and I think I could probably get places where vehicles can't, off of roadways, into people's yards, into ditches, and go from there.
Now, during your patrol, were you equipped with a body worn camera recording device?
Yes, sir.
And was that recording device operating correctly?
Yes, sir.
How did you know?
I knew because there's a button on the front, tap it twice, and then we look down and see a red flashing light. If it's flashing red and it vibrates, then I know it's active.
January 2025, at approximately 7:11. And did you observe a person riding a bicycle on the sidewalk?
Yes,
And what else did you observe about this bicycle?
the time of day was after dark. The individual was wearing dark clothing. He was on a bicycle on a city sidewalk, which is a city ordinance violation, and there was no proper lighting equipment on the bicycle. So it's not just a ordinance violation, but also a safety hazard.
What lighting equipment should have been on the bicycle?
Should have a headlight and a tail light, similar to a regular road traffic vehicle.
And did this bicycle have a headlight on it?
No, sir.
Now, were you partnered with any other personnel?
Yes, Officer Brent Vermeulen.
And what did you and Vermeulen do in response to what you observed?
After we observed the ordinance violation in the specific area, the individual was coming from a known drug pickup spot, a gas station. We initiated our emergency lights, initiated a traffic stop with Officer Vermeulen in the lead. I was in the rear. The individual did not come to a stop immediately. It was approximately one city block. During that time, based off of our experience, I maneuvered to be in front of the individual, anticipating that he was probably going to run based off of the time of day, our experience, and his immediate behavior when the lights came on.
What is Mark State's incident? Do you recognize that?
Yes,
What is?
this is a recording of my body-worn camera on the day of the incident.
And how do you recognize it?
I reviewed it prior to this testimony and signed and dated it.
Does that recording have any edits or changes to it from what you experienced on January 11, 2025?
No, not that I'm aware of.
January 12, 2025.
Not that I'm aware of.
Now, when you initiated your traffic lights, you stated that the bicycle continued for approximately one city block.
Yes, sir.
After that, what did you do and what happened?
After that, Officer Vermeulen was in the rear. I was in front of the individual. I exited my vehicle and observed the individual to still be straddling the bicycle, which again is one of the more common cues that he's not going to exit the bicycle and he's trying to decide whether he's going to run or he's going to comply. Because it is dark, we have our emergency lights on. He is in dark clothing, and it's common for other vehicle traffic to be blinded by our lights. The last thing I wanted was the individual to flee, and the most likely direction would be into traffic. So for his safety and ours, we did not want to get into a foot chase, and I didn't want him to run into traffic. We detained him with handcuffs quickly. He was detained from the moment the lights came on. We just finalized it with handcuffs.
And after you detained him in handcuffs, what did you do?
After we detained him with handcuffs?
Yeah.
I explained the reason for the stop, both of the city ordinance violations, made sure he had a clear understanding of what we were doing and why we were there.
Before you explained the reason for the stop, did you take him off the bike?
Yes.
Did you relocate him?
Yes, I relocated him to the front of Officer Vermeulen's vehicle for multiple reasons. One, it gives a barrier between him and traffic. Two, gives a table for us to place items on in case we're going to search. And three, there's multiple cameras, the dash camera, my camera, and my partner camera rolling.
At this point, did you tell him that he was under arrest?
No, we told him that he's being detained for the traffic stop.
Did you ask him if he had anything in his pocket or anything on him?
Yes, we asked him if he had anything on him, any narcotics. The individual stated he had marijuana in his pocket.
And as a result of his admission, did you search him?
Yes.
Before this cycle plays out, here's the actual legal line this whole hearing runs on. Back in 1966, Miranda versus Arizona established that anyone in police custody has to be told their rights before questioning. The right to remain silent, the right to an attorney. But a brief roadside stop isn't automatically custody in that legal sense. In Berkmere v. McCarty, decided in 1984, the Supreme Court held that routine traffic stops are generally not custodial for Miranda purposes because they're usually brief, public, and limited in scope. But that protection has a limit. If a stop starts to look and feel like a formal arrest, extended detention, handcuffs, being moved and isolated, courts can find it crossed the line into custody, even if no one ever says the word arrest. At that point, Miranda kicks in. So the entire fight in this hearing is about exactly that line. Was this still a Terry stop? Brief, limited, safety-driven? Or did it become custody the moment the cuffs went on? Here's something worth sitting with. If handcuffs alone can turn a stop into an arrest, how much power does that give defense attorneys to challenge nearly every roadside detention where someone gets cuffed quickly? Let us know your take in the comments.
We searched incident to the known narcotics in his pocket.
What did you find, if any?
After that, we located a folded up piece of paper containing a crystal-like substance. It was loose, which is uncommon. It was not sealed up in a baggie. And prior to addressing the crystal-like substance, the individual stated multiple times that he was near a car wash and picked up the paper. After we stated that it looked like crystal meth, the individual stated it wasn't his and he didn't know what was inside of the paper.
I understand. I have a few more questions. The area in which you detain this person, can you give a general description of it? Is it a residential area, commercial, industrial?
Mostly a residential area.
Houses, apartments?
Yes, sir. There's, if I remember correctly, the sidewalk which he was on, he was opposing traffic, and there was a bike lane available. To our left was a residential area.
How would
House.
how would you describe the life in that area?
Not good. There's not adequate street lights. If we didn't have our emergency lights going and our headlights and any lights we had on our body, the individual would have been in relative darkness, especially to the untrained eye, the normal person in public, probably would have overlooked him, especially if he was in the roadway.
And how did you identify this person? Did they present an ID? Did they identify themselves verbally?
He identified himself verbally, giving his name and date of birth.
And to the best of your recollection, what was that name?
Jack Evans. I don't recall the name.
Understood. My last question, when you see Mr. Evans, did you display any of the weapons which you are equipped or any of the measures that you have available?
No. We have firearms, firearms. We have tasers, and some officers carry a expandable baton. We displayed none of those and did not feel the need to go to any of those because we used empty open hand techniques to get him detained.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, State Office Exhibit 1.
Any objection? And counsel, are you going to ask him questions as we watch State's Exhibit 1?
Your Honor, I think if the court would just like to view it, we could just view it and then subsequent to the viewing, I can ask him questions. It's very short.
All right, well, do you want to ask him questions and then
Sure.
I will view it and make a ruling on this
Yes, Your Honor.
probably tomorrow because I'll need a chance to view it and we're in a jury trial.
Of course, no problem, Your Honor. Yes.
But however you all want to do it, if you all want to show it to him now, that can be shown to him now. If you want to ask him questions about this.
I'm agnostic.
Yes, Judge, I think that'd be fine if you can show it to him now, and that way.
All right.
It is easier.
Oh, thank you. All right, so you'll need to do it from their equipment and broadcast it. And I'll be able to watch it on the big screen. And then after this is concluded, I'll take up Rocha. And that's a motion for bond and also Escobar, which is a plea.
Really? You look back, you saw me. I didn't know anything of it. Wow, you had an over. Hey, there's something.
So, officer, do you recall this video that was from your body worn camera?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you some questions, sir. Is riding a bicycle on the sidewalk, a crime that is commonly associated with violence?
No, sir.
Okay. What about failing to have a light?
You want to play?
What about failing to have a light on the front and rear of the bicycle? Is that commonly associated with violence?
Not in my experience.
Okay.
But let me caveat that. No, that is not commonly associated with violence. However,
Thank you.
it is commonly associated with people who would flee through a traffic stop when they're pulled over.
Thank you for that response. Now you say that he failed to stop when you guys had initiated the lights first and foremost. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, where is that listed in your report? Can I have that report for you if you want to furnish, recall your memory?
Yeah. Would you
Like
take a look at this?
Yeah, yeah. If you
So
could just
this
please.
is not my report.
Okay.
The handling officer is Officer Brent Vermeulen.
Okay.
So I'm covering this. This.
Okay, did you do a report as well?
No.
Pause. Here's the tactic. Defense isn't just asking what happened. They're asking what got written down, by whom, and why the person who actually wrote it isn't here to answer for it. McBaden, the officer who physically handcuffed Evans and asked him the questions, never authored a report. The one person who did, his partner, was never called. That gap becomes a recurring theme defense returns to again and again throughout the cross.
Okay, you did not do a report with
Yes.
regard to this. Okay.
Yes.
So, information on here, if it didn't have where he had taken off or had to try to evade, that just didn't make it to the report. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't write this report.
Okay. When you approach and get out of the vehicle, is my client trying to evade or trying to get away from y'all in any way, shape, or form?
No, sir.
Okay. And you said you had additional officers with you, correct?
Yes, there's two of us there.
And to the best of your recollection, my client was alone, was he not?
Yes, sir.
Now, the way that you went about arresting him was quite quick, wouldn't you say?
Objection to the defense's characterization that this is an arrest.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can ask your question.
Placed in handcuffs.
I'm sorry, you're asking if it was quick?
Yes. Do you feel like a lot of time had elapsed between you getting out of the car and you handcuffing my client?
I feel like an individual is detained in a reasonable amount of time that was safe for both ends.
Did you feel that the amount of force was necessary?
Yes,
And why did you feel that amount of force was necessary?
the amount of force. The individual was removed from the bicycle. To the best of my belief and knowledge, he didn't incur any injuries. And he was placed in handcuffs.
Is that the way you go about doing investigative detention upon stopping people in the streets, just accosting and handcuffing them?
No, the individual accosted and handcuffs. No, he was being stopped for a city ordinance violation, and based off of my experience, When they don't immediately exit the bicycle or come to a complete stop, oftentimes they're fleeing or they're considering fleeing. And it's a safety hazard for both us and them.
So going back to the city ordinance issue, when you see someone violating a city ordinance issue, say, for instance, jaywalking or maybe riding a bicycle on the sidewalk, do you cuff them and place them in custody and question them like that?
Objection relative.
Overruled.
Say, for example, let me simplify it for you a little bit. If I was walking across the street and I jaywalk, say I don't wait for the crosswalk to happen. I mean, it occurs all the time right here on this four-way stop over here in front of the courthouse. If I go ahead and do that, are you gonna come up with me and you're gonna handcuff me and then go and ask me questions at that point and I'm already handcuffed? Or are you gonna talk to me real, like as an actual person and try to delve and see what's going on?
It's all dealt with on a case-by-case basis. Sir. And you're indicating the area in front of the courthouse, which is not the area I work. I don't know anything about this area.
I'm saying hypothetically, yeah.
Hypothetically, I don't work this area and I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
So I work south and in that area, at the time of day, the location we were at, the area he was leaving, known for narcotics pickups and deals. His behavior, all of it added up to multi-factors to our actions.
So you said he was leaving a gas station, right?
He's leaving a gas station area.
Gas station in the area. So couldn't he have easily just been getting a soda or
Absolutely.
or some chips?
Absolutely.
And you're coupling that with the fact that he was on a bicycle to try to justify the fact that you're just handcuffing him without doing any kind of questioning before that fact?
No, the reason that he's being handcuffed is, once again, the length of time it took for him to come to a stop after the emergency lights were activated and him not immediately exiting the bicycle.
And you heard in the video that he says he didn't really see you guys. Did you not? Like in the video, he says, I didn't even know what's going on. I didn't see you guys. Maybe possibly he doesn't see that point because you're saying this happened, but where is that listed in your report?
Again, I didn't write a report.
So is it typical?
The handling officer wrote the
Is it
report.
typical for you to not write reports when you're going ahead and handcuffing people and asking them questions?
For cover officers, on most every call, no, they don't write reports.
But you're the one that actually handcuffed him, took him off his bike, put him against the car and started questioning him, correct?
I'm the one that first made contact with the individual and both myself and Officer Brent Vermeulen detained him with handcuffs and then began questioning him.
So that gets me to another point. You relayed information to the other officer. The other officer made a report stating all these facts. Is that what you're saying? Or you have no knowledge?
No, what I'm saying is that Officer Brent Vermeulen and I were both partnered up at that moment.
Okay.
And we both initiated a traffic stop together, which is common for officers around the city and other departments to take calls together, make traffic stops together. And at the time that we detained the individual, we started working it from there.
But you were the person that or the officer that got out of the car and then handcuffed, correct?
As it appears on the video, it looks like I made contact with him first, but Officer Brent Vermeulen was right behind me.
Okay. And who asked the questions of the defendants?
Both of us asked questions.
Okay. And you didn't feel like the need to do a report just to cover your basis in terms of the handcuffing and the questioning?
When it comes to traffic stops that result in an arrest, there's a handling officer and then there's cover officers outside of that. There's some cases in the department where a supplement report is required, and that's usually dictated by a supervisor. In this case, it's just a simple one officer is handling the report and the other officer is covered for safety.
Did you witness my client do a hand-to-hand with anybody?
Not that I remember, no, sir.
Did you witness him committing any other infraction besides having the city ordinance of having the bicycle on the sidewalk or not having the lights? Did you witness any other kind of criminal infractions?
None that are coming to mind right now.
So there were two of your officers and just my client, right?
Yes.
Couldn't you have requested that he get off of the bike? He gets off of the bike. you're questioning or he's questioning, and then the other officers maybe keeping an eye out for safety. I mean, couldn't that have happened instead of what happened on the video?
What happens commonly in the traffic stops is when we initiate our emergency lights. Most people in society have gone through some form of driving school, driver's ed when they're in high school. And it's covered in that program that people are to pull over when they're being stopped by the police. And when they don't do that, we at that point start to take guesses as to why. Either they're not seeing us, or they're refusing to pull over, or there's something inhibiting them from understanding the situation. There's all kinds of reasons why he might not pull over.
But again, as far as we can tell, since you didn't do a report, it's not documented on your end, and you don't know what the other officer documented on his end, do you?
The documentation on my end is on a video in front of us, both my body-worn camera and then the video attached to my vehicle, and then the handling officer will report.
Documentation usually refers to written correspondence rather than video, does it not?
There is video documentation and there is written documentation.
In this instance, there is no written documentation as to a report.
No, there's written documentation. It appears like it's
That
right
you
here.
that you wrote though.
No, sir.
And you're maintaining that that type of force that you used was reasonably necessary to effectuate the goal of seeing why he was riding on the bike on the sidewalk, or that reason why he didn't have the lights on. Because did you charge him with evading on foot or evading on a bicycle? I'm just curious.
I'll go to your first question. Do I think the force was necessary to affect him being detained? Yes, and he was detained at the moment that the emergency lights came on, and we completed him being detained at the moment the handcuffs were put on this person.
Would you agree that if a person is cuffed, and the situation went how it went by, where that everything happens really fast, that objectively speaking, he may not have had the whereabouts of whether he could leave or not, or the know-withal that he could leave, or the freedom to leave? Did you feel like you restricted his freedom?
I'm not understanding your question.
The way that the video is portrayed, where it just gets out, really no verbal dialogue, it's just taking and restraining the person. Could it be seen objectively that he didn't believe that he could leave at that point in time? Could he just walked away at that point in time after you cuffed him?
At the moment that the traffic stop was initiated, he was not free to leave. And most people, again, who have gone through some form of driver's ed understand that they're being detained at that point.
But I was asking about the moment when he was handcuffed.
The moment that he was handcuffed, yes.
Do you believe like he could
A reasonable person would believe that he was not free to leave at that point.
So he could have just taken off down the street, handcuffed and all?
Could he have done that?
Well, would you guys have allowed him to? If he didn't answer the questions to your liking, he said, no, I just want to go ahead and
I guess.
assert my constitutional rights to not speak to you. I want to go ahead and just walk down the street with, I mean, would you guys have talked to him at that point, or would you guys have just continued the way that you guys had continued?
At the moment that the traffic stop was initiated, he was detained, and at that point, he was not free to go.
Okay.
If at any point during the stop he had left, no, he would have been free.
Yeah, so he probably couldn't have gone at that point. Did Mr. Evans, was he cooperative with you guys? Like when you guys were talking with him?
After we made physical contact with Mr. Evans, he was very cooperative.
Did he submit to your show of authority?
I'm not understanding.
Did he submit to your show of authority, like you as the officers?
Can you define a show of authority?
You as the officers handcuffing him, placing him in custody, he didn't resist or anything like that, did he?
Did the individual resist after he was placed into cuffs? No, I don't remember him resisting after he was placed in cuffs.
And then the show of authority is more like he was following y'all's request, and he was cuffed, and he didn't really feel like he was free to leave at that point because you guys had him cuffed.
Based off of your description of a show of authority, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding, the show began at the moment that marked patrol vehicles with light bars affixed to the top of them rolled up on them, and emergency lights were activated. And at that point, I wouldn't say he submitted to that show of authority, as I guess as you're defining it.
But in the video, you see you guys roll up and he doesn't try to take off on the bike, or he doesn't throw the bike down and run, does he?
No, thank goodness, no,
He's going
for
quite-
his safety and our thing.
He was going quite slowly, almost to a stop. Would you not agree?
After I got in front of him, again, I'm using approximation to approximately 1 city block. That he was being lit up, and it took I had to get in front of him for him to come to a complete stop at that point. Or I had to get ahead of him, ahead of him on the roadway for him to go to a complete stop.
Yeah, but when you did stop the vehicle and then see him and he's on his bike, pretty much stopped there, you all don't ask him any questions or anything, right? At that point, before handcuffing him.
Again, I gave a statement earlier, in my experience, when individuals in the setting that we're talking about, operating a bicycle, as we're describing, when they don't exit the bike immediately, oftentimes we have a situation that can become very unsafe for both the individual and for officers. And to mitigate that safety concern for him, for us, and also for anyone using the roadway, yes, he was placed in cuffs.
You say that oftentimes, but wouldn't you agree that every encounter is on a case-by-case basis?
Absolutely, but we also have to use our good judgment as officers to learn from prior history and to make good decisions for what we can do in the future based off of our own experience, which is why that comes.
And in this situation, did you see him doing anything threatening?
No, no.
Okay.
Other than, like I said before, he wasn't exiting the bicycle immediately. But the threatening, no.
But you can't see from your vehicle or this video when he was kind of stopping, or when you're saying that you pulled up on him and he was kind of already on the bike, not able to make really an aggressive stance or aggressive movement towards y'all. Would that be fair to say? He was being compliant at that point.
If he was able to make an aggressive movement towards us,
Yeah, he wasn't, right?
I would disagree.
Okay.
Many people and a lot of aspects of my job are able to make quite aggressive and violent movements from seated positions, from lying positions, from standing positions, and from being straddled on a bicycle.
But in this situation, I mean, he didn't have a weapon. You didn't see him do any kind of illegal activity other than
And
riding on the
I'm not
bicycle.
going to get into a situation where I try to make judgment calls based off of split-second observations. I'm going to try to make things as safe as possible for all
Right.
people I encounter.
With also maintaining that they have rights that need to be protected as well. You
Oh,
forgot that
absolutely.
part, or you were gonna add that?
His rights.
I was just checking. Because you had another officer with you, and my client was by himself on a bicycle. That's what it comes down to, right? So what was the time frame between you cuffing and handcuffing and taking Mr. Evans to the car and asking him questions? What was that time frame like? Was it a large amount of time? Was it a short amount of time?
As viewed on the video, I would just describe it as a reasonable amount of time. To me, in my experience, this is, y'all use the word quick. I don't see this as quick. I just see this as a result.
As a result, do you think it could be resolved in another fashion?
It could be resolved in many fashions, just based off of our own observations, what we have in front of us, and based off of his actions,
Right.
based off of other people's actions.
Or perhaps communicating with people before such action is taken of a coercive nature to handcuff someone and restrain them of their liberty. Communication could be key, correct?
Based off of the video that we all just watched and based off of my memory as well, I advised him to exit the bike multiple times prior to.
Okay, well, I must have not have seen that. Let me go ahead and replay the video.
Watch this move specifically. Defense doesn't just ask McBaden to describe what happened. They have the actual footage replayed in the room and ask him to reconcile his own testimony against what's playing on screen. When McBaden says he told Evans to get off the bike multiple times before removing him, defense immediately has the video rewound to check it.
Continue playing the video. You said that you asked him multiple times to get off the bike before he got off?
Say, get off the bike, get off the bike.
Okay, did you allow him the time to get off the bike, or did you guys just swarm him? Okay, where did you allow him time to get off the bike? Is my question to you.
During the time that I was saying get off the bike.
Get off the bike as you were grabbing him, throwing him off the bike and handcuffing him. Is that what it was?
I don't remember throwing him off the bike, and I don't see throwing him off the bike.
Okay, well, you grabbed him, tear him off the bike. You could have asked him to step outside of the bike. Sir, you're aware that you're violating a city ordinance. Could you have gone about it that way?
There's many options on how we can detain somebody. Again, with what I had in front of me, based off of my experience, the last thing I want is for any person to flee from us until on a bicycle, and that can travel faster than foot speed for both me and my partner. And the last thing I want is for an individual to end up getting hit by a vehicle or to put themselves in a situation where they're going to get hurt or we're going to get hurt.
And you reference detention. Are you aware that if more force is necessary to effectuate the detention, it could turn into a custodial interrogation if questions are asked?
If more
force is necessary to maintain the status quo or to effectuate the reason for the stop, if more force is used more than that, then it could, you taking someone in custody or handcuffing someone could be viewed as the objective standard is taking someone into custody. Are you aware of that provision of the law?
Yes, and I don't think that more force than was necessary to affect the detaining of handcuffs was used here.
But that's your opinion. That's your subjective opinion, correct?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
So once he was taken from the bike and handcuffed, you guys started asking him questions, did you not?
After the individual was placed in handcuffs, yes, he was asked questions.
Okay. Did you read him his Miranda rights at that point in time?
I don't know how deep we got in the video. I don't remember reading his Miranda rights at that moment.
Do you know if the other officer read the Miranda rights? So you're not sure if Miranda rights were ever read in conjunction with the statements he made after he was placed in handcuffs?
Right, in conjunction, meaning like what do you say?
Like after he was placed in handcuffs and asked questions, you're not sure if he was Mirandized or not.
I'm not sure if Mr. Evans was Mirandized at any point.
And again, that probably would be useful if there was a report written, but you're saying you never wrote a report, right? Just to clarify.
Again, the handling officer wrote the report, and whether he was Mirandized or not is on the handling officer, because he's making the arrest on paper.
No further questions, John?
Right, state?
You feel,
Yes.
when you activated the emergency overhead lights on the dual patrol vehicle, did that indicate that you intended to detain a person?
Yes.
So that is a show of force.
Yes.
And did Mr. Evans respond to that show of force?
Mr. Evans' response to the activation of lights was to keep rolling on his bicycle.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Any further questions?
No from the defense, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused?
By the state has.
Yes, Your Honor, from the defense.
All right, thank you. All right, state, any further witnesses?
Judge.
Defense, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Judge, just justification.
All right, the court will hear a brief argument. State? I know it's defense's motion, but I'll have you proceed first.
The only comments that I really need to make are contained in Rose's statement, which is a decision by the Court of Criminal Appeals from 1997, which I can provide copies to the Court of Defense.
Okay.
But essentially, the Court of Criminal Appeals ruled that reasonableness under the Fourth Amendment, while not capable of precise definition.
The prosecution's answer leaned on a different, well-established standard. Citing case law built on the Supreme Court's Graham versus Connor framework, the prosecutor argued that reasonableness has to be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene, in the moment, not with the benefit of hindsight in a courtroom months later. Officers, the state argued, have to make fast calls in tense, uncertain, fast-moving situations. Under that lens, cuffing Evans quickly wasn't an arrest. It was a reasonable safety precaution during an active investigative stop.
Must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer at the scene rather than managed hindsight. And furthermore, allowances must be made for the fact that officers must often make quick decisions under tense, uncertain, and rapidly changing circumstances. Now, defense counsel asked quite a few questions about hypothetical situations in which Officer McFadden may find himself in other environments. But we're not talking about hypothetical situations in which he may find himself. We're talking about the actual situation in which he did find himself, the actual circumstances, the actual environment, the actual conduct of the defendant, none of which was rebutted by defense counsel. So considering the time of day, the area, Officer McFadden's personal experience on that patrol, the actions of the defendant in response to a show of authority, it is reasonable, it was reasonable for the officers to detain him in handcuffs, given the circumstances, and detaining him in handcuffs was a reasonable use of authority and force at that time that did not rise to the level of an arrest for which Mr. Evans needed to have the custodial warnings recited to him before his statement, his inculpatory statement, would be admissible in use against him at further proceedings, and as a result of which evidence was discovered. That's all.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. In relation to this matter, Judge, simply, he wasn't charged with anything else. He was not charged with resisting. He was not charged with evading. The reports don't even mention any of this. And he's trying to point to an officer, and the officer may have done it. The officer's not here, and this officer did not do a report. I do have a report here, and there's no mention of any kind of conciseness of what the basis was of them having needing to handcuff him. They were two officers there, Judge. You saw my client was not making any further movements. He was not trying to take off on the bike. They grabbed him immediately, placed him into handcuffs. And in my opinion, that amounts to taking into custody because the officers went from 0 to 60 like in 3.2 seconds without the need and basis for. Miranda is there just to safeguard these things about coercive nature of police interactions and a person being informed of their rights before they can actually consent and agree to a search or agree to remain silent. My client was taken, pulled, thrown into the front of the car and was not admonished as to his right to an attorney, his right to remain silent. The officer says that he didn't believe that he could walk away. Being in custody is based upon numerous factors, is based upon the nature of the crime under investigation, which is for an ordinance of riding a bike on the sidewalk. This, in my opinion, was the officers targeting my client because they saw him as an easy target, a way to justify some stops, a way to justify some arrests. Also, the reaction of the suspect can also be determined as to when the officers roll up on him, he doesn't try to take off like I just stated. So there was really no need, in my opinion, for the officers to go about this the way that they did. They could have asked him, sir, please get off the bike. Do you know what I'm stopping you for? You're in violation of this ordinance. And then they could have gone about investigating if they believed that there was other drugs or if other things going on.
So your argument is you're not arguing about the stop. You're arguing about the fact that he was placed. You're arguing that he was in custody.
Yes, Judge. I'm arguing that he was under custodial interrogation. The officer, in my opinion, he did, albeit petty, a reason to stop my client in violation of an ordinance. So we're not attacking or we're not challenging the reasonable suspicion.
So you're saying that when he was, you're saying he was taken into custody, that he wasn't Mirandized. And during that time, is that when there was an admission of drug possession?
That is correct, Judge.
And so you're saying that the statement was not properly obtained, and anything else that follows from there should be suppressed.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry for not clarifying that. First, it's just, we're contending that the force utilized exceeds the reasonable force necessary to effectuate the stop and to maintain the status quo. That's the way the courts have held, that it can be transformed based upon a totality of circumstances and objective nature about how things were done. And if the way that things were done, the abrasive nature of my client being taken off of the bike, handcuffed, and then questioned without being Mirandized is a violation of his due process rights, that he was, because if he was made aware that, hey, okay, I'm actually cuffed, they're actually looking into me, I need to maybe keep my mouth shut, or maybe I need to have an attorney, he could have made that request, but that was not made available to him.
Okay.
And all this happened within a span of like 5-10 seconds, as you can see from the video.
Okay, then I understand both parties' arguments. State, I understand your argument. Defense, I understand your argument. What I will do is I'll review the video, and I'm familiar with both of the case law that you all have presented to the court with Rose and also with your case law. But I still like to reread case law, even though I'm familiar with it. So what I'll do is I'll have you all come back tomorrow.
Judge, I'm gonna be out on leave tomorrow,
All right, so when will you be back?
the 19th and after.
All right, so what I can do is, where are you going to be tomorrow?
I'm gonna be out of state.
Okay, so what I can do, I can do one or two things. One, I can send you all an email with what my proposed ruling will be.
Okay.
That way both parties will know.
Yes, Judge.
And that way, if I were to rule in the defense's favor, which I'm not saying I will or I won't, then your client won't be held over if I were to rule in your
Oh,
favor.
great. Yes, I would be amenable to that email correspondence. It is.
If you tell me tomorrow morning that you're going to rule in favor of defense counsel, I'll send a motion to dismiss.
Okay, all right, so and I'll send. All right, so I'll send you all an email to let you know.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I review the video, review each of your case law again, and then I'll let you all know what my decision is going to be.
The judge came back the next day. Motion to suppress, granted. The confession gone. The felony dismissed. Case closed. Jack Evans walked free, but not that next day, not the next week. Evans was arrested January 12th. The case wasn't dismissed until May 13th. That's 5 months. 5 months in county jail over a bicycle with no headlight. Here's what makes this sting. These officers had every right to stop Evans. Write the ticket. Give the warning. Send him on his way. Instead, that missing headlight became the door to something else entirely. And it cost a man 5 months of his life. The defense attorney's closing line said it better than anything else in this whole case. All it would have taken was 5 words. Instead, in about 3 seconds, Evans was off that bike and in handcuffs. And 2 officers wanting what was in his pockets ended up costing him 5 months nobody's giving back. Do you think handcuffing someone within seconds, before any explanation, crosses the line into custody? Let us know your verdict in the comment below.